Hey guys, Michael, also known as Salty Well, got Bronson here today, and we're going to talk
Sick.
about some cardboard.
Yeah, looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, man. Well, not just cardboard, talking about events, talking about new sets coming
Everything, man.
out, fucking everything. Cold foil,
Everything.
bulk, non-foil, and even white borders.
Conspiracy theories, UFOs, aliens, it's all going down.
Oh, I mean, nothing but conspiracy theories. Actually, that's the main topic of this. Bulk, your bulk, the price you're paying for it. You can cover
Yeah,
1,000x very easily. Like
exactly. And that's why I love bulk is because there's like literally the sky is the limit because if you buy it at 10 or 15 cents, like it's very easy to double because literally it just goes up to 30 cents or 45 cents. And that was my whole, back in the beginning, if I can explain, like when I got into Flesh and Blood, as a kid, I just loved going through a bunch of bulk. It just was so much fun to like look at all the cards and see what all the effects are and everything like that. So when I first got into Flesh and Blood, bulk was readily available and game stores hated it. They were like, "Hey, we want to like get rid of it as fast as possible." And I just was like, "Oh, I'll get that collection." And then another store, I was like, "Oh man, that's a good deal on bulk. I'll get that." So I just slowly kept acquiring it, and eventually, as I became more of a collector, I was like, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool to get like a certain percent of the print run as just a total amount of Flesh and Blood Alpha that I own in like these bins back here?" I just thought that was cool because if you think about the Shiana or any other card, the reason why it's so, prominence is because there's a low amount of them. Well, in a sense, there's a low amount of these bins out there because, there's only so many bins of alpha bulk that can even exist out there if you have them all in there. So I just slowly acquired. And I mean, when I saw the print run announcement, I was like, damn, I probably have like a 0.5% of the print run at the time for Welcome to Wrath and Arcane Rising, and it kind of blew me away. And when I was in Magic the Gathering, I would do the same thing with collector's edition CE and Ice cards. Did you ever do you know the background about those?
Not really. I mean,
It's really
just a little
cool.
bit, but not much.
They're like pointed cards for Magic, and they were
Yeah.
given out. They were the third set that was ever printed after Alpha and Beta. They came out with collector's edition. It was printed, I believe, around December, for the Christmas holiday, and it was like, hey, this is the whole set of Alpha and Beta of Magic, but it has rectangle borders, right? But nobody likes that, and I saw all these cards for like 30 cents back in the day, and I wanted to get like a certain percentage of the print run. I thought that was cool, but yeah.
Well, yeah, so like getting back to what we're saying a minute ago is so you have some vintage magic, but not like a huge amount. But flesh and blood's where you have like the huge amount of the bulk then, right?
Yeah, definitely. I haven't really collected too much Magic at all. I really haven't put any money in Magic for, ever since I got into Flesh and Blood. And lately I've just been looking at the market. Even now it's dipped a lot and bulk looks pretty reasonable. My buy rate is 15 cents for a common and 25 cents for a rare, which, is lower than what you get on TCG Player, but there's all these fees and stuff and shipping and handling. So, that's kind of my rate at this time. But I definitely think it's been an overlooked and collectible in Flesh and Blood. But I'm very biased. I want to admit, I'm super biased because I love the shit. But overall, I think that people haven't really looked at it as much. Did
Well, I
you
mean, just
have that
you can.
much bulk?
I have like probably 10,000 alpha. You have way more than I do. I have like 10,000 alpha, and I have like probably 15, 20,000 arcane. But I didn't really go out and buy bulk, but I bought bulk rainbow foils.
Oh,
So
nice.
like I have like a 3 to 5,000 alpha. Same for arcane and Crucible War, probably about 3,000. Um,
Oh, wow.
yeah, something like that. I forget. I haven't counted them, but they fit in the 5K box. So
Yeah. I mean, the numbers are pretty crazy. So if you look at just raw numbers of total cards printed, 6.4 million cards were printed. Welcome to Wrath Alpha, right? So you have 10,000 in bulk. You own like 1/6 of a percent of the print run of Alpha bulk. But you probably own a lot more percentage of the,
bulk
gold
foils.
foil legendaries and the
Yeah.
fables and such. But overall it's crazy. And then the rainbow foils that you own, like I can't do the math off my top of my head, but I mean if there's 16 cards per pack, I think there's only around 300,000 rainbow foils in Welcome to Wrath Alpha, right? Or it's somewhere around like the 100,000 range.
There's a spreadsheet somewhere in my Discord channel. I have to look it up later, but some people have done the math. I haven't looked it up recently, but even if you have that, you have divided by all the different card pitches and all their aspects too. So even with 300,000 divided by however many cards there were in it and all the pitches.
Yeah, I
So
think it's 3,000 of each rainbow foil common, which is that's not that many cards out there, especially when the game was out for a while and nobody really cared about, collecting them. They probably, if they didn't like Flesh and Blood, they might have thrown them away. There's a lot of attrition, there's a lot of
a lot of
factors in
damaged
play.
cards too, because a lot of
Yeah.
people. I bought a lot of cards from New Zealand, and a lot of the cards were like played probably without sleeves. So see, there's that issue too. Not only the quality of the cards too, right? So not
Yeah.
only do you have the card where the card's clean, all that. So whenever I make master sets later, I have to make them by like lightly played versus the high quality and stuff like that. But
Mm,
also, if you take the commons right there, each common is just as rare as a cold foil library, right? You take perspective. So,
it's true.
um, but these cold foils seem much more rare because even though those rainbow foils are pretty rare, they came in every pack in an alpha box, right? But
Mhm.
if you even go to like, Monarch, you get a cold foil library out of 140, 50, whatever boxes it is. And then it seems more rare because it also costs more to get because you have to open more boxes to get it than that.
That is true.
So there's different mindset. And that also applies to Fab 2.0. So my mindset on that too is like, all right, well, even if the cold foils are the same rarity as, let's say, Monarch, the next one because it's 3 times printed, you still have to open a lot more product to get that cold foil.
Yeah.
So there's a balancing of equal rarity slash difficulty to get and all those different combinations. So
There's so many different factors to calculate. It's insane. I mean, the one thing though, I think that alpha in general, the rainbow foils, the cold foils, and everything like that for Welcome to Wrath and Arcane Rising is I think that the consolidation of cards into people's hands has been extremely high, ever since, Flesh and Blood started getting popular. What I mean by consolidation is I firmly believe that there's less than 100 people who own 95% of the print run of Welcome to Wrath and Arcane Rising, and that's a very small group of people. And when you have those types of people like, you or, I want to, plug Saint or anyone else out there who's, an avid, big time collector, you guys don't really care if the price goes down or anything. You and I, we love the game. So like, even if this bulk goes to a penny per card, I'm not selling, So when you have that type of price constriction, it's just very interesting to me versus like Monarch or another set like Monarch in particular. Yeah, there's probably so much sealed product out there because people like held it because they thought it was like the golden box.
yeah, man, definitely. And I opened 50 cases of Monarch because like same thing too is like, okay, well, I was fortunate enough where I had a deal where I got it a good amount for really cheap, right?
Hmm.
But sometimes too is like, all right, I can have all these cases. I prefer to open. I mean, I definitely keep some sealed, but I like the cards, right? So
Mm.
I mean, you get the cases, you don't have the cards unless you open the packs. So I prefer to open like half the product whenever I get it, at least.
That's good for you, man. Like I want to, it's just I get burned so much. Like whenever you're opening a bunch of boxes, have you ever gotten into a thing like after 5 boxes you don't hit anything and you're like, okay, what's going on here? Or
Yeah, but then I get a hot streak, then I feel even
that's true.
better, right? So it's like the
Yeah,
gambling fallacy. It's like, all right, fuck, I just gotta keep going, keep going. Then you get that one good box, it erases all the memory of the bad boxes.
that's good. Because like when I do it, it's like this weird effect where it's 100% gambling, open booster packs. But when I finally hit that card, I'm like, well, finally. Like where was this like a couple boxes ago? Like it's about time. That's the kind of feeling I feel. So I've been trying to like reduce the amount of product I own and just buy singles like on the open market. Like the amount like for Everfest, right? Those you know extended art majestics. I think some of them now are like $50. So in effect, you can buy a card that you can get one out of like what 200 boxes, and it's for $50 for the price less than the booster box, right?
Yeah, I don't know how rare they are. They're fucking rare. Probably as rare as like a Fable-ish, 30 to 40 boxes per unique one. But if you
Yeah.
want to get all of them, you have to open up a lot. And I opened 200 boxes. I didn't even get the Winds of Eternity EA. So when you're specifically looking for one card,
Yeah.
that's where you get upset.
Yeah. Well,
If you
how many you so you opened 200 boxes, right? How many extended art Majestics did you get?
off the top of my head, I think like 8 to 10. I forget because
Yeah. See.
you had the Pulverize, you had the Blazing Aether, you had
Mhm.
Knickknack, Brock, or whatever it's called, and then you had the other one. So you had a few more SKUs to get. But if you're looking for a specific SKU, that's when you get upset. When you're like, hey, I'm happy to whatever I open, and then I'll open a bunch of boxes and I'll get, X amount of each one, then that's the mindset I go into right there.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, but when you're looking for a certain one, yeah, I don't know. I felt like I every set going forward, how I'm feeling now is I want to open maybe like a case or maybe like 3 boxes or so. But other than that, I'm just buying the singles that I need. Like after that point, I'm just set collecting. What are your goals when you're opening stuff like now?
I mean, I want to get the cold foils I want. Eventually going to send our batch to grading. Like I have a few thousand cards at BGS right now.
Hmm.
But I want to get my next batch going on that too. So I look for like the perfect card, but I also like to play the game. So I want to have my collection too, and also get the rainbow foil collection, all that stuff going. But same time too is like I'll sell my Majestics, non-foil Majestics, sometimes rainbows and all that. But so then I could then sell the cards I don't want, still good, and I
Hmm.
could keep the perfection whatever ones, right? And sometimes too, like sometimes locals need cards and all that. I'll just local Seattle. I'll just sell them a Coldwell here and there. But I don't actively go out and sell those. But if they're like, oh, I'm playing a tournament, I need something, they know they could ask me, stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
So it's a combination of things, right? So
Yeah,
one, crack addiction. It's so much fun to open packs, right?
it is.
And when you get that super rare card, it's that really good feeling. And it's nice just to have the cards. And I keep the bulks and all that. I put them in 5K boxes. I keep storage. And then I get my collection out of it too.
Oh, so you
Um,
keep all your bulk that you have? Is it just because the time suck of getting it out, or?
Well, I mean, I just keep it long term because I believe in it.
Mhm.
So same thing to you, how you keep an alpha bulk and all that stuff. I believe this bulk will be worth something someday. Maybe not much, but it'll definitely be worth more than it is now. And so there's no point in selling them for like 5 cents, whatever. So I just keep them. I got a bunch of storage shelves like this in my apartment, and I just keep them up. So my apartment kind of looks
Smart.
like a store to extent, but uh, but it is what it is. But yeah, so I keep all my bulk, all that. Next set, I'm gonna have less bulk because I'm still gonna open a lot,
Mhm.
but I'm not gonna necessarily do it all at once. I'm gonna spread it out. So instead of like, oh, I gotta do it all the first week, I'm probably still gonna open 50 to 100 boxes the first week. But I might not open up 200 the first week, so I might spread it out over time.
That's
Um,
smart because then it's like a wine, you get out, you get home from a long day at work, and you're like, I want to open a couple boxes.
mhm.
You do that for like a month instead of just like 2 days.
Yeah, because after FRS came out, I got my 200 box open. I'm like, shit, what else I got? I'm like, all right, I got 25 cases of Monarch. I'm going to crack those ones. So then I was just finding different things to crack. So I'm like, all right, maybe I'll spread out this next set over time.
Oh, that's really smart. I mean, do you think that there will be opportunities in the future as well where the EV on the box is higher than like the singles that, or wait, no, the singles, or the EV is higher than the cost of the box, where you try to do like a thing where you'd, buy a bunch of boxes and sell the singles and try to recoup? I did that personally with
Mhm.
Arcane Rising Unlimited, and it worked out a little bit. I just wanted to keep all the Eye of Ophidius. So
Yeah.
I almost made back the initial cost basis, but I got to keep all my eyes. But are you interested in doing that stuff in the future?
I mean, similarly, like I'll sell the Majestics, non-foil ones, whatever, and some of them are worth like 20 bucks, right?
Yeah.
So I haven't like listed any Tales of Aria since I had them, but I have tons of bulk Majestics for that. So I've been selling like channel like Frigids right now for like 20 bucks each. It's very
Oh
convenient.
wow.
So I was like, there's a lot of stuff like that too. And what if I sell those? I could like, all right, well then I'm going to buy cold foil. So it's pretty much like trading those non-foil bulks for other things. So there's a combination of things you can do with it, or you can make your money back and all that. Like I've had Incarnate Zeus on my channel before, and he's a big buyer of Unlimited. He cracks them all, sells them. So the EV is definitely there.
Hmm.
We got to put the time into it. I'm not as crazy as him, where they sell the commons and rares and all that stuff. I'm just focused on the Majestics. Um, otherwise it just takes a lot of time and commitment.
Mm,
Where it's a lot easier for me, like if I want to sell cold foil legendary, like okay, it's $1,000, $3,000, $5,000 or more, right? I'm like,
mm.
hey, here's one transaction versus all the work for all those other ones. So it's a combination of things too, right?
That's smart. It's like it pays it back, right? Like you basically get all the bulk and you just sell that, but that pays for more of the collection that you want, not like just because what are you going to do with like a bunch of just normal non-rainbow foil majestics, lying around converted to cash.
I mean, I could just stare at them, just keep,
That's true.
just go to bulk. I'm like, all right, this is so nice. So, but you do whatever you want with it. But yeah, it's nice to have, but also like, people need them to play. And also too is like it's kind of interesting with the market right now. You're saying EV and all that. Um, you know, Unlimited is kind of like a dead product for a little bit, I guess you could say.
Yep.
But it's been very interesting how like I was talking to people in my Discord channel the other day, and they're like, "Hey, have you noticed the Rainbow Foil Majestic market's kind of like gone for Unlimited?" So I
Hmm.
went on TCG Player, started searching around, started looking in stores. There's like very little Rainbow Foil Majestics, and they're like $30 now or plus, whatever,
Oh wow,
just for Unlimited.
that's crazy.
Yeah. So I was like, holy shit, when did this happen? I'm like, I wasn't buying those, but I was like, oh, maybe I should have, but I wasn't focused on it. So seeing things could rebound in market. You never know when this card's gonna go up in price, right? So
Hmm.
like all that stuff. So even with Everfest, even if you buy it and the cards might not have the highest EV right away, if you wait till the right time, new hero gets released and all that, the cards go up in value too. So you can pick and
Mm.
choose when you sell as well. Those non-foil cards, right? For example,
Oh,
you
that's a
might
good
not
point.
you might not have to sell them right away. Like, oh, this card's only 50 cents. Well, okay, well, don't list it.
Yeah.
Wait till it goes up to $2 or $3,
Yeah,
whatever. So
especially if it's black bordered and now we have these new white border cards come out.
yeah, I think the black border and white border has been a new dynamic too. I've seen it chatted a lot in my Discord and on Facebook too. What do you think about white borders?
I feel like people don't like them versus black.
Yeah,
It's just been a whole stigma in the TCG industry for a while, and it seems like it's gonna move, going forward into Fab too. And I think it'll definitely take um, this whole time period, though, what you're talking about with the white border cards coming out with a history pack. It really is reminiscent of 2020, like when there was only Alpha Flesh and Blood, and then Unlimited was coming out. I feel like there's so much fear and panic out there. Every week you'd see constant people on the Reddit just saying, you know what, I'm out. Unlimited's going to come out and it's going to tank all the prices. Here's my collection. I want, $1,000. Take it or leave it. And you'd see that so many times over like, course of 2 months. And then we all know what happened after that. You know, now will that happen with this whole history pack thing with the white border cards and then money moves back into unlimited and alpha? I don't know if it'll happen like to that extent, but I definitely think that we'll see some type of price movement right there with the white border being less expensive than the black border. And that's obvious. I'm not saying anything new there, but um it'll be interesting to see how much unlimited appreciates because it is definitely the middle child from alpha.
yeah, but I also put like a lot of focus on you're saying like the black borders now are focus. So now you're saying it's the middle child, right? That perspective. But it used to be like, okay, first edition and unlimited's like, okay, I'll have it, but it's not collectible and all that. But now people are like, oh wait, unlimited maybe is collectible. And you're like, oh wait, now it's a black border versus white border. So
Yeah.
now unlimited is special. So it's very interesting mindset.
Well, what might really increase the pressure there too is, like I said earlier, no one, like only less than 100 people own most of the alpha Welcome to Wrath and Arcane Rising cards. So if you have that type of, ownership there, then no one's going to be able to get those. So any type of collector coming into the game is probably going to focus on, the unlimited stuff because it's in the reasonable price range, not like,
It depends on the
thousands of
collector level.
dollars. Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes you get the really high end collectors, and they'll want to go back for the first few sets, first edition. But if you're
Yeah.
looking for like a general collector, plays the game, likes it, and all that, and they want black borders, they're going to go for unlimited. But eventually, they might say, okay, well, here's my favorite hero. I want this cold foil, right? They might not necessarily want all the first, because even like right now, first edition Rainbow Foil Majestics are like 300, 500, $1,000 plus, depending on the card, right? So
Yeah.
like even me, like I'll buy a few of those once in a while, but I'm not gonna buy like 10 of those. Like that's a lot of money just to throw around. So same thing too, like 2 weeks ago, I decided to foil out my Katsu deck. So luckily I did it before everything dried up.
Mhm.
But if I'm gonna foil it out, I'm gonna play with the unlimited ones, not the first edition ones. So I did
Oh,
that
for
for
sure.
myself too, right? So you have to have the collectors who want to foil out their decks. They're gonna want to do it through unlimited. Now it looks like it's gonna be a hard time to do that because I was telling you, I was like the price is going up for that. So you can still do it, but you're gonna be paying more for it now than you were like a few weeks ago. Or
Mm,
or if you find unlimited boxes, you might encourage people to crack them. But even
that's
so,
true.
like the Rainbow Foil Majestics are I think are like one per case, and you want to have three specific cards or six specific cards, right?
Yeah, it's gonna
That's a
take a
lot of
lot of
cases
cases.
open, right?
Yeah.
So
And one thing that I think is not talked about at all is when you have unlimited product of, let's say, we'll come to Wrath Unlimited, right? I
mhm.
wonder if there's going to be a premium or a discount on the Belgium printing versus Japanese printing. And the reason why I'm saying that is there's a couple of things that I've heard, and allegedly the Japanese printing has a lot higher pull rate of Majestic cards, and like the pull rates are also different with certain cards in the box versus Belgium, and that's kind of and just for all transparency purposes, I do have a good amount of the Belgium sealed cases of Welcome to Wrath and Arcane Rising because I like the game. But I definitely think that we're going to see some type of shift there once the public is more educated on that. Like, what do you think about that?
There's probably a few factors to it, and I don't know enough about
Yeah.
limited because I didn't really collect it that much. I did buy like a few cases when it first came out, um, but I think there's different like card brightness and different qualities of it. So it really depends if you're trying to go for all the hits, then you might want Japan quality. But if there's like certain card stock quality or like brightness of the printing, all that, that's gonna help determine what someone wants.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've put a Japanese printed rainbow foil next to a unlimited from Belgium. It's very hard to tell the difference. I mean, like if it's me or you, we could probably notice, okay, this feel like the Japanese one feels more what is it? Stiff. It's
Mm.
a lot more stiff of a card versus the Belgium, but other than that, they look very similar. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any type of differentiation there in the market. But just something I've been thinking about lately because I just don't think people talk about the differentiation. Like if the products were the same, then I don't think there'd be any, no one would really care. Like, oh, your box was from Belgium and it has, this serial number, that was earlier than that one. No one cares, but if there is some type of printing difference, then we might see stuff happen in the future.
Yeah, it really depends on like the if the card looks the way you want it to look. Again, I haven't really looked at them. You have, so if they look almost identical, who cares? Stiffness, no one's gonna really bend the cards anyways. So
Yeah.
so it doesn't really matter how stiff it is if you're doing it for collectability purposes. Either put it in a BGS slab or binder or whatever. So you're not gonna be bending your cards. So ultimately it comes down to what does it look like? Does it look the same? Okay, great. And if Japanese does have higher pull rates, which I've heard that rumor too, but I don't know why, but anyways, then maybe you'd want one that had the higher ports. But if you want your box to say Belgium, you buy the case that says Belgium on it. You buy
Yeah.
the one that says Japan. So it really depends. And then Japanese has the red tape on it, right?
I believe for Crucible War,
Okay.
I'm not sure if they did that for Arcane Rising or Welcome to Wrath. I haven't purchased any of those products yet. But yeah, it probably does. They
Yeah,
use
same thing.
red
Yeah.
tape for that. They probably use red tape for the other ones.
I mean, same thing if you go back to Crucible first edition too. Like there's really no difference on premium. But you had the clear tape cases versus the stop tape cases on it. And then they had the cold foil on the outer pack versus inner pack for the different runs on it.
Oh yeah, it was such a weird thing, It was just in like a different location.
Less damage to it though, or
Oh
opportunities.
yeah. Like the first printing versus the second had less damage.
Because the cold foil was on the outer of the pack for Crucible versus it was more
Oh,
like a few cards in on the second printing Crucible.
oh, that makes sense.
Still consider same print run, but it was just like the second batch versus first batch.
Yeah, that was a weird type of batch situation. The Crucible War was an interesting product. I can remember it was like it's all out of print. Oh wait, no, we're printing more, but only 3 waves. And or no, that was
That's
unlimited
unlimited.
Crucible War. I'm thinking
Yeah.
like back in the day when like in the US people were like, oh, it's out, no more Crucible War, and then there's a second shipment that like was delayed for like a month and a half, and then it was very weirdly distributed out there. It was just it very like trickled in, right?
Well, it was like the eye of the storm for a little bit with that because prices weren't going up because everyone's like, oh, the market's gonna be flooded with singles and all that. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm gonna buy all this shit right now.
Yeah.
So I kept buying it because people were panicking, blah blah, and all that stuff like that. They're like, oh, well, it's gonna be flooded. And as soon as it got released in December, like it's gone. I'm like, all right. Who cares how much they released at that point? It's gone. Um,
I love what you said there. You bought when people were panicking. Like that's just like, you know, that's such a good mindset to have in, in a lot of cases.
well, that's why I was telling you too before we started recording. Is I sold the eye for 20 grand. This is 9.5, so good grade.
Mhm.
9.5 heart in January, and there's also like a slower time to market. I typically don't want to sell those cards because those are my high end collectibles. But the guy reached out to me, is very trustworthy. I've done stuff with him in the past, so I decided to do it. And then if I had that 50 grand money, people are fearful in the market. So I put all that money back into Flesh and Blood. I'm like, all right, let me buy some other singles that no one else is focusing on. So that's the same thing too. Whenever I sell cards, which I don't do too often, I like to reinvest it into other opportunities.
Mhm.
For example, like you collect bulk and all that, the odds of that going up in value is pretty high. So if you have a 20-cent card, someone might pay $10 for that in the future. Like, hey, your multiplier went up quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
Heart, okay, it's 30 grand. There's a few sold like 30 grand recently. The odds of it going to 60 grand, yeah, it's going to go there, but it's going to take a while to get there and you have less buyers, right?
Yeah.
So it's good to focus on different aspects of the market too. So forget where I was going with that, but it's just like there's always so many opportunities when people are fearful in the market, you take advantage of it. Even with the whole, not to go too much into this, but the Monarch thing was like, hey, we thought it was me, 75, 100, whatever. It was 125K. No one really panicked that much. He had some issues. Rudy was upset about it. He did a sale last night. I ended up buying another case because he sold for $400. I'm like, all right, why not? He's doing it as a gesture to people who bought it before last year for $500 a
Mhm.
box. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll buy it. I'll crack it open. Why not? I like the cards. So, but I think the fear of the market is going to end pretty soon. Um,
Oh, for sure. And
yeah.
just piggybacking off of what you just said, Monarch, I don't want to get too far into it, but
Mhm.
just from thinking about it from a collector standpoint or somebody who's trying to, invest a little bit, right? The whole market when Monarch was out was so hyped. Everyone was just like completely like off their chair, just like throwing their wallets at the screen. Like when you have that time period of anything, and if you're looking at, right? That's probably not the best time to buy into something, And I think the best type of investment type thing strategy I do, and not investment advice, is buy on the cannon, sell on the trumpets. You know what I mean? So like when things are bad, when people are fearful, it's good to buy. When people are up in arms and everything's great and the sky high and everything's going up, probably not a great time to buy. It's probably a good time to sell. But as humans, we are not wired to do that. We are wired to, when things go down, we have this pit in our stomach, sell. And when things are up, we're like, let it ride. Let's go. Let's, go to the moon. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
that moon fever definitely kicked in.
yeah.
And when it dropped like that, I was not expecting the prices to drop. But to go back onto the moon thing on that, people were selling me legendaries for 200, $300 when they 2x, right?
Mhm.
And now they're worth a lot more money too. So it's like, you want to sell on the rise, but also you don't want to sell off your whole position.
That's true.
It's because, you don't know the limits on that too. And also, if you're looking for a long-term investment, you don't want to sell it off either. But like if you're trying to do cost balancing, all that stuff, okay, sell some stuff on the rise. And then maybe you'll sell it and it goes back down and you rebuy it again, right? And there's that aspect too. But if I were to sell everything I did in fall of 2020, I would have made 2, 3x. Okay, great. But it went up another 10x after that, right? So
Yeah.
there's a balancing act of selling on the rise, sell some stuff on the rise, or I'm just gonna hold out forever and see what happens. So
Yeah.
and then if you buy on the rise too, is people who bought it $300 a card, they were buying on the rise at that point too. But you gotta figure that it might not go up and it goes down. If it goes down, that's why sometimes I tell people stop bitching on my channel. Is you don't know how the market's going to behave. You
It's
made a
true.
decision to make that purchase. It went
Yep.
down. I understand what people are pissed off about Monarch without going deep into that. But I've made decisions. Luckily, overall, with Flesh and Blood, I've been on the right many, many, many times, which have paid off. But I've bought stuff that's gone down too. And what the fuck? It happens. Right.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be upset about every purchase I make, why would I make a purchase in the first place? Same thing.
Exactly. You have to have logic and reason why you're investing in something. It's just like a stock. If you invest in McDonald's stock and it goes down 10%, what are you going to do? Bitch and moan about McDonald's? Like they're you know, you were the investor. You thought it was a good opportunity. You put your money into it, and it just didn't pan out in this current time period. If people are so short-sighted, I feel, and don't realize the big picture, and like, you know, sometimes you don't make the best decisions and just move on. You know, get smarter.
Yeah.
I'm right on board with what you're saying.
Get smarter. I like that one. But yeah, just you got to go into it. Is you made a decision, you did it. So that's why I was surprised when Rudy gave back the what he did was he's trying to make people probably feel better about the purchase and all that. But the people who bought the boxes from Rudy at $500 a box made a decision to buy it at $500 bucks. So he sold it based off the market knowledge he had, and now he's selling it for $100 a box. I mean, I didn't feel like he had to do it. I felt like he shouldn't have done it, but I'm not going to say no to that option when he's selling for $400, you know, a case. I'm like, all right, sure, I'll do it and open it. But
Yeah.
if you're like that and everything, then the prices go up afterwards. Do the people then owe you money? Right?
Yeah. It's like,
It goes both ways.
do you always expect to make money off of every investment and it's never going to go down? You know, then there wouldn't be any risk.
Yeah, I mean, he sold alpha and arcane boxes, and those have gone up a lot. He doesn't go back to his Patreon's like, hey guys, you know, you owe me X percentage of your gains and all that.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Yeah,
Like, oh, I accidentally sold you them too cheap. Can you please refund me like $1,000 per box? Okay, thanks. Yeah, no,
yeah,
it
doesn't happen.
doesn't work like that. I think the only reason why he would do that about a situation that you may or may not be referring to regarding a certain company that you may or may not be referring to is because the whole, like, you know, he was saying something about like a rug pull, but honestly, overall, you know, water under the bridge. I'm with you. If you made the decision at the time to purchase 2 Monarch boxes in the promo for $1,000, which I did as well, you made that decision, and like you have to live with it and go forward. I mean, if you look at every other Rudy like kit and everything in the past, like the amount of times it is gone up in price versus down is like astronomically high from, you know, my experience. So, you know, and the fact that he's, you know, realizing like this was a certain scenario that he wanted to, you know, make it right with people. I mean, I just think that shows like, hey, like he really values his brand and really wants people to, you know, recognize that he wants to do right if something like is unforeseen.
Yeah, I mean, that was very interesting he did it, and I have no problems in doing it. I just thinking like, you know, you don't owe anybody that. So that was nice that he did that.
Yeah.
And I don't need any more Monarch cases, but I took it because I'm like, nah, I have an excuse to crack another one.
Yeah.
That's the main reason I like to open stuff. But so there's a lot of stuff going on. I see like Uprising on your screen right there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But so we have got the Vegas tournament coming up. You got Pro Tour coming up. So this is a week before Pro Tour. So I'm going to fly out to Jersey next week. You're not going, right?
Nah, I really want to, but I can't make it up.
Yeah. And I'm going to Jersey. I was fortunate enough that I was able to take time off and do that. I'm not going to be playing in the Pro Tour itself. I'm playing in the calling. But
nice.
Yeah, I didn't make the Pro Tour, but I was thinking, if I'm doing the calling and all the greatest players in the Pro Tour, maybe I have a better chance of doing better at this calling.
It's a good point.
Yeah. Because the people, I mean, the people who are still going to be playing the calling are probably going to be the people who didn't make day 2 of the Pro Tour.
Mhm.
But nonetheless, I'm like, they're probably still really good. So I'm just being hopeful, like, hey, maybe I'll get the B tier players at the calling versus the A tier the Pro Tours.
No, it's a really good point. Who are you bringing to it?
I'm sticking with Katsu.
Nice.
He's still not tier 1, but he's gotten better since the ban suspension announcement and all that. I
Are you
struggle
doing
against
anything different with the deck versus like the normal like control deck? Or are you adding like the 100 wins like combo thing or?
yeah, I got the 100 win combo. I did that in ProQuest and all that. It worked out really well.
Mhm.
The only thing I gotta figure out to do is against Starvos and old hymns, which kick my ass, is how do I get past their defense? And that's really struggles
Mm,
on that. So I struggle against that matchup. But if it's gonna be another hyper aggro matchup, I still do pretty well. I
that's
could beat
cool.
Chain. Lightning Lexi's a little struggle, so I got to figure out how to tweak that a little bit. Um, for example, is I might add in the Ninja Boots versus the Snapdragons that for an extra defense because all that damage push through they do makes sense to have more defense options.
Mm.
Um, but besides that, I feel I'll do pretty good. But will I win? No. But will I have fun? Yes. And then since I've been playing Katsu so long, it's so easy for me to just keep playing him, and I can adjust to the meta and do as well as I can. And I'm
Did
getting
you
ready for
used to?
Uprising. So
Yeah, right.
got the
It's
ninja.
just
Yeah.
so much stuff coming up. Did you used to be competitive player like in any other TCG before Flesh and Blood?
Not hyper competitive, but I played Hex TCG. It was online only. Like it wasn't necessarily a Magic clone, but it was close enough to be a Magic clone that they got sued by Hasbro. But I used to do sealed and draft events on that. They did have like a big event online once a month on that.
Oh,
So
nice. Yeah, because I know before Flesh and Blood, I never got into like any type of tournament scene. And I remember when you were in Vegas, right? We didn't meet up last year in Vegas, but both of us made it to day two. I don't know, it was just crazy. Like I don't know, I never competed in that big of a tournament and gotten so far. So it's a really fun experience, right? Like it's I don't know, it's really cool.
well, it's good too. Like so, it's fun. So like my mindset going into those things too. Same thing when opening a box. Same thing when making a purchase. If I lose my fucking first game, well, fuck it. You know, some people get really angry. You know, this is hyper competitive. I still want to win, but
Yeah.
I accept my fate. So if I get my ass kicked, I get my ass kicked. But I try to play it out as much as I can because
Yeah.
one, I want to get my elo better, and then same thing too is like, so I might even play day two, even if I'm not the tier one list, because I still want to play it out, get my extra elo and all that stuff. So I also want to see how far I can get. So even though I got like day two, the Vegas event, I knew I probably wasn't gonna get to top tier, but I was able to. I just want to see how long I could get or what place I could get. Same thing with the nationals too. I'm like, all right, well, let's see how I can get. I didn't get top 100 nationals, but I got like 105, 110. I was,
Hey, that's really good.
but I was trying to get 100. So I was like, all right, I'll stick it out, see what I get. But then I lost my last match against Drenthia, which
I mean,
usually does
what
not happen as Ninja. But the guy had a really tall turn, was still Blade Supremacy first turn, got his sword up.
oh
So it was a really nasty start. But that happens.
yeah. No, yeah, those Dorinthia Steel Blade turns are nuts. You have to have so many like defense reactions in your deck to really just fatigue out.
Yeah, and I'm a hyper aggro deck, so I just gotta take it.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to playing the new Ninja? Like I think it
Yeah, I mean, definitely,
yeah.
definitely looking forward to it. I mean, I like trying new stuff out. I say that I'm still playing Katsu, but I still like it. So, like for example, when I say new stuff, I did try Lexi out for a little bit. I liked her a lot, and I like the fact that the new set is draft, right?
Mhm.
So I'm gonna be forced to play all the different heroes now. Same thing with Sealed, and I don't play Ira, I don't play Benji and all that, but playing a new ninja seems cool. Illusionist class has always made me very excited, but I didn't like necessarily the angels and stuff like that. So I'm excited that we have this new illusionist too. So I'm excited about the new set. And I played Kano for a bit, so even playing the wizard is gonna be fun. So I'm really looking forward to drafting the set because I like all the classes in it.
So is it gonna there's gonna be three heroes in the new set? I know Ninja, Illusionist, and Wizard you said?
There's 3 confirmed heroes. That's the confirmed ones. I think there's gonna be another one in there, maybe more.
Oh, that'll be
Um,
cool.
because we got Pro Tour coming out. James White's probably want to do some sort of announcement while he's in the United States. So why not fucking tell us the fourth hero there? So if there is one,
Yeah.
but I think that something like that would happen, and there might even be more than 4 heroes because you get the cold foil slot. It is a token slot, and you cannot play cold foil in draft.
Mhm.
So this new set style, there's more flexibility to add extra surprises into the token cold foil slot. So you might
It's
have
true.
a cold foil only hero that is not draftable, but could still be played in a set somehow.
That would be interesting. Yeah, I mean, with these new heroes coming out, with the whole talent system, I feel like a lot of times there's so much advantage to playing them, you know? I mean, because you can use everything Katsu can except like 2 or 3 cards, right? But
Two.
you, yeah, 2 cards. But then you also have all these new like flame cards or whatever, that is, whatever that element. Of course, I think how they balance it right is the base hero has a better effect than the one that has a talent associated to it, right?
I'm not sure, but because Viserai was not as good for a while, but now you
Mhm.
saw where he got with all the rune chants he's making.
Yeah.
So I mean, the base talent might not be well, but sometimes you add more stuff into it that makes it better. I mean, Katsu's so good because he's able to filter his hand quite a bit. Whatever he hits, you discard a 0 cost card. You can pick whatever combo counter card you want. Um, if the new guy is relying on combos quite a bit, it might be hard to pull off your combos if it doesn't have the drawing or tutoring effect.
Yeah, true.
So
And
you never
did
know what you have. Yeah.
Did you see that one cartoon video of the Australian Nationals, I believe? And it was Viserai like versus Oldhim, right? Oldhim's like sitting on a chair, right? And
Yeah.
Viserai's just drawing the circle like for a minute, and then after that he just like and just destroys Oldhim.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
because I
Ultimate was sleeping the whole time too.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I saw
because
that one.
that's literally what the game was. It was just no rune chant, rune chant, rune chant, and just explode. It's nuts.
Yeah, that was OTK. That was before Everfest came out, right? That was yeah.
I think so. And well, because I mean, it makes sense if Oldhim is built very defensive and just ultra, tanky, then Viserai has the world's his oyster and can just constantly, make rune chants all day versus like trying to block out a little bit and make rune chants. So yeah,
That,
it's
that's
crazy.
what I've really liked with the ban and suspension announcement now. Because it used to just be banned. And now it's like, hey, the ban cards can come back. So that's pretty interesting. And suspension's like, hey, we're gonna balance it and tweak it so the whole meta becomes, relevant. So now Chain's relevant, Katsu's relevant, Briar's relevant. So now you have a lot of other heroes competing. You still have the top tier Starvo, right? You still pretty
Yeah.
damn good. But it allows the other heroes to come out too.
Are
And
you talking
then
about when they suspend a card and then they link it to like a hero, like Autumn's Touch is with Oldhim, and when he gets retired, then it's playable again?
yeah, but they didn't have that beforehand. So now they're trying to do like balancing tweaks, which is kind of nice. So not like, hey, this card's banned. It's more like, okay, well, this is banned until this guy becomes a living legend or stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting. So it makes the meta relevant. And even Seeds of Agony was banned last year. They're like,
Mhm.
hey, well, if you cut them all up, well, now you lost out in your comments. But nonetheless, though, it's still is like, hey, we're gonna bring it back. Once Chain gets retired. We might have another version of Chain. Because I wouldn't imagine them not making another version of Chain because they have legendary that's tied to Chain too, like a Eclipse or whatever.
Yeah.
So
No, I'm totally on board with that too, because yeah, it does feel weird when it's banned, but the whole suspended thing makes sense. It's like, okay, this hero's like really, really good. How do we nerf him a little bit? Well, take this card out, but only temporary while they're still in play. And the deck's still good. It's just and the strategy's still the same. You just don't have the Autumn's Touch for him. And I think what Viserai had, the Blood Sheath Skeleta with that
yep.
one combo, which was insane. I
So
forgot
not
what it was.
whatever it's called.
Yeah,
It's the
honestly, I
one where
think
you had to
they
pay XX and then you could use the rune chance to pay for it and you draw a bunch of cards and you kill anybody.
I think they should have said, and whenever you have X, you can't have cost reduction there. I think that would have been because isn't that what helped it was like it reduces it by the amount of rune chance you have.
Yeah, the Bloodshot Skeleton lets the next attack and non-attack. I don't know if it's specific order, but lets you reduce it by X amount. And then you can play for the Sonata. I forget the full name. And then you can pay for that to draw the X amount of cards. It's XX, but you still use the rune chance to do it. So if you have 20 rune chance, you can 10 extra points into that.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah.
crazy.
So yeah, that creates crazy ass turns. So with that Blood Sheath, you get rid of that option. But they suspended Blood Sheath until Viscera gets Living Legend, all that. But the cool part is they're like saying, hey, we're not banning this card. Because then everyone's like, oh, my blood sheets are going to be worth nothing. Well, they're like, we're just saying we're putting on the side for now, whatever.
Mhm.
And there, it seems like they're going to have different formats in the future too. So each of these living legendary people get banned. Enough of them will become living legendary in the future, and you'll have these crazy formats too. So I like what
Yeah,
they're
no, I
doing.
think it's a good tweak. Yeah, because there's one thing where if a card was printed in Flesh and Blood, where that card was the whole strategy of a deck, and you needed it, and then you ban it, and then that's gone. But instead, it's more of, okay, we're going to take away power from the hero, where they can still use the same strategy. It's just they can't do, that. I guess except with the Bloodsheet Skeleton, like that was kind of like a just way too like crazy strategy with the Arcanic Sonata, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, that's just their power turn.
yeah,
Or a lot of heroes have to like work really hard for the power. Doesn't mean they weren't working hard for the power right there too. But like Katsu, you have to get your combos off, you get the trick, you get the hits in. Old him, he has to like block off heavy in the beginning, then attack hard in the end. So it's like a combination. Like that's why I lose against old him. It's like they keep blocking out all my reds. So when they start attacking me, all I have is blues. So I can't put any pressure back. So
yeah,
there's a lot of unique strategies right there. With Viscera, is like, hey, I have 100 million rune chance now. I'm just gonna kill you one turn.
yeah.
So I really like what Elsis is doing. I really like the tournaments coming up. I know some people say that we weren't mentioned earlier because we all talked about it, but the channel fireball thing. I think that thing's gonna be taken care of, whatever. But I've heard people saying, "Hey, I'm not gonna go to any events anymore because I want to protest channel fireball." And I want to say right now, I think that's full of shit because I am going to events to support LSS. I'm going to events to play Flesh and Blood. So even though like this Pro Tour is ran by Channel Fireball, people are beating a dead horse with it, talking about it for a while. It is what it is, right? Same thing too. Like you pissed off, it's pissed off, whatever. I'm not pissed off at the event. I'm going to event to have fun, right? So I don't care who's running it. I know James White's going to be there. Rudy's going to be there. The team from LSS is going to be there. Lots of cool people are going to be there. So
Yeah,
why the hell would I protest it? So I'm
yeah,
going
it
to go
doesn't
there.
make any sense.
I'm going to go there and have fun. So
Yeah.
same thing too. Like Vegas, I'm going to try to go, but unfortunately, I think I have a family reunion that weekend. So I have to figure out balancing the family and all the other bullshit.
Oh,
So
that'll be fun.
yeah.
But yeah, regarding the situation with the company that you may or may not have just mentioned, I think it's gonna fade away. I think a lot of people have said their piece and things are being addressed in the background, and I have full confidence in the game going forward. I mean, with anything, with any type of TCG or company or any type of thing out there, there's always going to be like, bumps along the road, But I feel like, this is going to be such short-lived, and especially with all of the new player growth out there, I think that it'll be very interesting to see what happens in the future with just the secondary market, but just overall with the people playing in tournaments and everything. Because when I've gone to these national events and all these things, there's a lot of people, right, man? Like
Oh
I'm
yeah.
just blown away by the amount of people out there in the community. And yeah, no, you go to Flesh and Blood events because you love Flesh and Blood, and don't worry about all the random crap happening in the background. It'll smooth out, But
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is I go there to have fun. You go there to meet people. You have a great time. And it's fucking amazing seeing 1,000 people in a room playing Flesh and Blood, right?
right?
It's fucking cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah. So you got that effect. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to Pro Tour. Too bad you can't make it, but things come up in life. I might not be able to make Vegas, but I'm going to try to go. But so there's a lot of different events. So if I get make Vegas, there would be other events locally, right? So you got the Vegas pre-release. Well, that's a pre-release. That's world premiere. The
Mhm.
week after that's pre-release is all your local game stores, and then you get the release, right? So there's lots of events too. So like I love going to armories and all that. I haven't gone as much as I used to, but I played one last week. I had a lot of fun. So there's always events. So you have the local events, you got the major events, you got the world premiere events. Just
I'm really kicking myself, Michael, because man, in the Pro Tour, you got Legend Story Studios is going, and it would have been really cool to, meet some of and I don't know if the whole team is going, but I've really wanted to talk to Robbie Wen for a while. He's a really cool guy. But also, Rudy's gonna be there. That's
yep,
gonna be hype, man. That's gonna be super hype. Like I don't know if I'm a big fan of Rudy, and back in the day, he had all these Magic the Gathering, like I think there's like a Magic event in Vegas, and he filmed like ton of videos just talking to people and all this stuff, and it was really cool content. And him saying he's going to do that for Flesh and Blood up in New Jersey, dude, that's gonna be so cool. I don't know.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean,
Yeah.
I love Rudy's content, so the fact that he's going there too, I think he said he's going to talk to James White. I would love to meet James White too. I'm like, hey, I love your game so much, right? That's like one of those fan moments. Like, hey, be cool, be cool. Right, all right, it's James.
Yeah.
So same thing too. Like you get the all the stars of Flesh and Blood and all that stuff like that too. So it's
Yeah.
kind of
James
cool.
better bring some hand sanitizer because he's gonna be shaking a lot of hands, I bet, because he's very like a mysterious guy in a way, especially for people in the US because no one's seen him in person. So it's gonna be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to the videos, seeing people meeting him and meeting just Rudy and going up to the booth and everything. It'd be really
Yeah,
cool.
it's gonna be a blast. And then again, if I get my ass kicked the first day, I'm gonna bring like a blitz deck. I'm gonna try playing Kasai, whatever.
Mhm.
So it's gonna be blessed. But so like this events and all that stuff to you is what are you looking forward to most right now? There's a lot of stuff going on. Like, what's your most exciting moment coming up?
Um, if it's about collection, I have a couple things. I guess for collecting, honestly, I've been making a couple bulk alpha purchases, and I'm looking forward to getting that, sorting through it, making videos about that, just talking about it, and just adding it to the collection because. As I've said, what I'm up to. I'm trying to get like 1% of the total print run. I thought that would be, really cool. I think I don't know how close I'm at, but I'm still a ways away. But it's definitely going to be a long-term goal. But yeah, no, people have been interested in selling, and I'm interested in buying. But other than that, I think the biggest thing I'm looking forward to in the future is the pre-release for the new set. Like, I love pre-release. It's just
Mhm.
such a magical time because it's basically opening packs and you haven't seen these cards before. You're learning all the abilities. You're talking to your friends and people at the local game store and saying like, "Hey, no, how is this going to shape the meta and all this stuff?" And my good friend Matt Helfinger, shout out to him. He do you know the Fab Arsenal YouTube
Yep.
channel? Yeah, yeah. Awesome guy. He just started his own local game store. So I'm looking forward to going there and hanging out with him and seeing the shop. I haven't gone to the shop yet, but just doing pre-release weekend is just so much fun. You get it's such an easy thing to join. It's like $30 and you get like you usually get cold foil promo cards that are worth $30 anyway. So it
Yeah.
pays for itself, and then you also get to open like 6 packs, and it's just a wild time and just a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you on that too. I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to that battle box. I'm really curious about the mystery behind it. I mean,
There's a
we know
mystery.
well, the mystery is we don't know what the hell Reiner is getting, right? So you have
That's true.
Durantia, you have the young one. She has a brand new sword. I forget if we saw the sword yet, but we saw her specialization. So we got a brand new young Dory, and we get a young. So there's a mystery is we don't know the fuck Reiner is yet, right? So like,
Yeah.
what is his specialization? What is his weapon? What does Duranthia's weapon do? Can I use that in the regular decks? So it's some sort of mystery. You got a
Mhm.
story that comes with it too. So yeah, you got that, and I'm sure there's a lot of other products coming out later this year. I don't even know what's going on with the Black Border history packs in Europe. Like,
Oh yeah.
I want to know what's special about those. I'm like, do I need to go out and buy those now, or like,
Yeah. Can we buy
that
them in the
not
US
I want
or
to buy the boxes from Germany. I'm like, all right, Germany has my boxes. I'm gonna say, do I need to buy the single like special cards? That's what I mean.
do you think there's going to be a big pull on the gray market to like buy those up? I mean, but it's probably going to be hard because they probably only sell to, German distribution or whatever, like France distribution.
I have no idea. Like, I haven't talked to anybody that's been doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, those countries deserve to get their boxes. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to get the special unique ones, whatever they have, because I remember James White said some uniques can be about those Black Border stuff.
Oh yeah. Do you think they're gonna like well, he said something new, right? I was thinking, what if they reprint like the Heart of Fandel in cold foil? Like, but they
He
probably
said he
won't do
wouldn't
that.
do that though. He said he wouldn't
Yeah,
redo the cold foil, but he
that's
said
good.
he yeah do something special. Oh, talking about the hard Fendel, I talked about this earlier too. So I mentioned the rainbow foils from Jet 6 are going up in price.
Hmm.
So yeah, the Heart Fendel, it's unlimited, but the history packs are not getting it. So what are your thoughts about Fables? Do you think they're gonna ever get reprinted in the future, or you think they're just like one and done? They're first and unlimited.
All right, for full transparency, I own probably 5 of each. 5 Heart of Fandels, 5 Arc Knight shards. Or no, the I have
Ice?
Ophidias.
Yeah.
Uh My thoughts on it is it looks pretty attractive. I mean, if you have 1 out of 40 boxes for the heart, but I want to emphasize that we don't know the total print run of the hearts. On the website, we have question mark, question mark, question mark as the as the pull rate. And I think it's very important for people to realize that the pull rate in alpha does not probably match unlimited. So is it possibly 1 in 20, 1 in 30 boxes? We don't know. But I have heard rumors that the amount of printing is different from unlimited versus first edition. It's really going to come up to that. I think, man, it's going to be scarcity at first, but I think it's pretty attractive. I don't know what the price point is and how it differentiate from the cold foil variants, but I mean, if it becomes a essentially reserved list kind of item, because that's what we're kind of talking about now, right? Because if it's not going to be in the history pack, and if it's not going to be printed anywhere in the future, technically, is it like a pseudo reserve list?
There's a lot of pseudo stuff going on right now, right? Because I mean,
Yeah.
if you talked about even further, it's like, okay, you got rainbow foil in first and unlimited. You have non-foils for history pack. You get the white for history pack, all that. So I mean, our rainbow foils gonna be reprinted dealer, so it's a combination of that, right? So
Mhm.
like, is it just non-foil for those cards in the future? And it's same thing too, is like, are those things gonna be printed? So there's no official statement from LSS right now. All we can do is like look at the market and make assumptions, right? It's all speculation. So it's not like saying, hey, go out and buy 10 hearts. It's like, hey, well, maybe if you had a few hearts, this may or may not be reprinted, right?
Mhm.
So I only have one of each because I have a good amount of the cold foils, so I didn't really want as many rainbow foils. That's my position. So I got one of each stuff because I was like, if they're not going to have it in the future, might as well have my equipment now, but still don't pay an extra whatever money, right?
Well, but other than the Heart of Fandle, every other card in Welcome to Wrath is being reprinted in History Pack, most
That's a
likely,
good
right?
point.
So
Except
it's
for like
like
Shiana and Skullcap, I believe.
that's true. So maybe there is kind of this reserve list like that's popping up. But Shiana, they probably maybe they won't reprint her. Who knows? Maybe they're trying to keep her pretty valuable too. It'll be interesting to see if they come out with a list and saying, hey, these are the cards we're never going to print ever again. And it could be due to just wanting the provenance, like Shiana, like having like a white bordered Shiana would be like a real that'd be kind of looking weird, especially with the heart
Yeah.
Fandale. If it was white, where it's like, what are you doing here? It like tarnishes the brand of the asset. So it would be really cool to see if that pops up in the future. And another one out there is like Drone of Brutality. Like, yes, they can reprint it in the future, but really, will they? If they stated multiple times that it really goes against their design philosophy. So it'll be interesting to see how that materializes.
I mean, I think Shiana might even be in the next set too. So I mentioned maybe she could be a wild card in the draft,
Mhm.
or maybe she could go flame or whatever she wants because she's a shapeshifter, right? Or maybe she's one of those code foil special heroes I was mentioning, like, hey, maybe she's a surprise in that set. Because they've had some lore articles with her recently and her and Icelander.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That'd be really cool. And it was like instead of the Diamond Gemini, it's like the Agent of Fire, like Shiana, the Agent of Fire.
Or Ice too, right? She might be
Yeah,
able
or
to
Ice.
she might be able to pick whatever talent she wants to be in the game. And then
Yeah.
be the option. So yeah, man, there's a lot of cool stuff going on. But I'm mainly looking forward to Uprising as well too. Because collection aside, it's fucking fun playing the game. It's
Oh,
fun playing
yeah.
with people. And then collecting's like another hobby on top of itself too, but Flesh and Blood gives you all those different aspects you can tackle right there.
Yeah. And there's so many people you meet along the way, like you and all these other content creators that I talk to. Like we ping each other every now and then. You're like, hey, what's up with this or this topic or whatever, and talking like this is always fun, man. And just all I feel like that's all this intangible wealth, that you gain along the way. Like I think it was a couple days ago, I hung out with a bunch of friends I met through Flesh and Blood. It was this guy's what is it, bachelor party before his wedding. It's like, oh, this is awesome. Like you make friends like through this game. It's really cool.
Well, it's like kind of like a life changing aspect that you can say like that too, right? So like you get your hobbies, you do stuff like that, you have fun. Like I like to go on runs on weekends, stuff like that. So I meet people who play do running, right? But I meet
Mhm.
people who play card games. So you share experiences with other people that do things that you like, right?
Yeah.
And that can lead into like deeper friendships too. Like, okay, well, hey, you like these cool cards? You like cool cards? All right, cool. Let's grab beer. So,
Yeah.
so you have all these different aspects. Like, all right, cool.
You
We're
like
both
to
good.
sniff
Yeah.
cardboard? I like to sniff cardboard.
Right.
Let's grab
All
a
right.
drink.
We apparently both have issues, but let's go hang out.
Yeah.
So, that's the fun part about these things, right? Is that you meet people who have similar interests.
Yeah. And just honestly, just through if you look at the future of the game too with the PvE, I mean, talking about that for a little bit, man, dude, that looks amazing. That sounds amazing. Because in the beginning of this game, when I was analyzing it, I did see, and a lot of other people out there in the community saw that, like, oh, okay, this is a very big opportunity for PvE and role play. And I think that's really going to get people really like into the game from a non like confrontational standpoint. They just want to be on a team of people attacking a monster. So I think it's smart that they're waiting for a little bit to get into that so they can iron it out fully. But I think that's just going to bring a whole new element to the game. I mean, you have that one D&D type podcast called Critical Role. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it just like millions of people follow it, and just the amount of people in the role play community is huge. So I can see that really increasing the market share. Well, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm excited about it. Like I played games that had D&D roles to it, like
Mhm.
rules, but I never played D&D itself. But I like the fact that the flesh and blood aspect of it will be the storytelling, it sounds like, but also you use actual cards. So you still have to build decks to play it. So it's not like you have a dungeon master saying, "Oh, you found this sword that could kill anybody one hit." All right, there's probably some rules built into it, the flesh and blood rule set, right? So it's
Yeah.
not like you just power through everything. So it'd be kind of interesting to see how like maybe you get special packs, living card game type status. Like maybe you get a pack that's meant for the dungeon, or like you buy a pack and you only open it if you beat the boss. I don't know. There'd be a lot of unique aspects to it too.
Oh, for sure. I think it'll probably start out with like you get like a sealed draft of like, okay, this is your new hero, and or maybe you do a draft with your a pod, and you create like a hero out of that draft, or maybe it's a sealed type thing. But it would be so nice, yeah. And if like when you defeat a boss or anything like that, maybe you get the copper tokens and the silver tokens, and maybe there's a shop that has like different items, and there's like a spreadsheet that says, okay, you want a Dawn Blade? Well, Dawn Blade is 3 copper pieces or 3 gold pieces. There's so much ways they can integrate it into it, and I'm excited. I mean, what will it? I think it won't trump like the normal gameplay of the original game, but I definitely think it's just going to be such a supplementary product to getting a lot of people who aren't interested in like the PvP aspect.
Well, it also adds options to add more cards too. For example, I think James White was mentioning that not all the cards will be usable in PvP, but some of them will be. I think most of them will be. So it's still releasing new cards that you can still play with in
Oh, I
PvP.
didn't know that. So there's brand new cards just for PvE.
Yeah, that's my
Oh,
understanding.
that would be
That
cool.
that would make sense because like as I mentioned before, I played Hex TCG.
Mhm.
So that was a similar to Magic. It was supposed to be like an MMO type experience. They focused too much on PvP, never really went to the PvE aspect. They did eventually, right? It was a lot of fun. And they
Mhm.
had cards that were only fun for PvE because like you have overpowered cards in PvE because you're playing against a monster. So it doesn't matter if the monster's having fun or not. It matters that you're
Yeah.
having fun. So if you get this really kick-ass turn, doesn't matter. You had a good experience, right?
Yeah.
But when you're playing one-on-one, it's not necessarily a fair experience. So you have a bunch of unique design space you can work with on that. But doesn't
That's
mean
cool.
so you might have cards that you get for the PvE experience. You might get some of these overpowered cards, but they're like, okay, well that one's a PvE only, however they want to market, so you can't play with it.
Gotcha. That's interesting. Yeah, man, the sky's the limit for that. I'm really looking forward to that when it comes out. It'll be very interesting how it comes out.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you still have we have the draft coming out this summer. We have the another supplemental set coming out fall. Next year, sometimes once we get the PvE. So it'll be interesting to see what the release cycle is, the story cycle, the supplemental product cycles, or like the Dorothea Battle Box with Runner. So, but the fact the company's growing gets me excited because it means I get more product, right?
Yeah.
So you get more experiences too. So, I mean, I know there's a lot of negativity out there, but I'm looking at the big picture. LSS is
Oh yeah.
growing. LSS is growing. They have more money. They have more money. They can invest it back in the game, right?
Yep. And
It's
not
been
only
better.
that,
Yeah.
they're still a small time operation over there in New Zealand. They're not like totally like increasing their head count, to astronomical levels. They're just very poised to just stay in business for a very long time. When you have a small amount of overhead and just a Green Beret team of like just badasses, then your expenses are low, revenues are high. I mean, the game's going to last for a very long time. It's going to be crazy to see. Especially, man, can you imagine in 5 years how many different heroes you can select from in Flesh and Blood to play the game? It's
Well,
gonna be
I'm excited
wild.
about that. I mean, I want them to just keep releasing more heroes. I know it's a
Yeah,
balancing issue and all that, but like,
it's
just
fun.
give me more options. I love it.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
like right now, what do we have? Like 20. So in like another 5 years, there's gonna be like 100 different heroes you can play, or maybe 80 even. But 80, that's so many.
it keeps the game fresh, right?
It does.
Like I tell people this, like, oh, I'm not like some people might say, I'm not interested in any of the heroes come on next set. Okay, well, other people will be, and now you'll be playing against them. So even if
Yeah,
that's not some hero you resonate with, you now have a new opponent. And
yeah,
if
for
you like
sure.
ninja, you'll probably have some new generic ninja cards you could use in your deck. So that's what I like about the game too. The more it grows, more heroes come out there, the more unique experiences you get.
Yeah, and building your collection, no matter when you get into the game, whatever your cards you have are just going to be good till the end of time, which is really nice. Or most of them that aren't like hero specific, but yeah.
Well, even so, they're good in timing. It's collectability, right?
Yep.
Um, the original cold foil heroes and stuff like that promos still very rare. You get you read told things. If those heroes come live in legendary status or some reason can't come playable in the future, it's a
Hmm.
unique card,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh, and
Mhm.
not only that, but in the future, I bet once 8 heroes get living legend status, they'll have a living legend. What is it? Format. Like
Yeah,
only living legend heroes can play on this format. I bet we'll see that. So, you know,
yeah. So I'm excited about everything. So lots of good stuff going on. Lots of new packs open soon. Lots of tournaments to play in. I don't know what's coming up after Vegas, but anyways, I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun stuff.
yeah,
Um,
all fun from here, man.
yeah, I just enjoy it. Even if there, it was like, okay, man, I got a week before Pro Tour. What can I do? I'm probably gonna open a box, whatever, or I'm gonna
Yeah,
sort some cards today or something like that. So, but
yeah, I just can't wait for the future. It's gonna be really cool.
yeah, the future and now. I mean, uh, even though like you don't like white borders, seems like a lot of people do like white borders. So there are people with different tastes.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen people wanting to buy white border stuff on Facebook and Discord.
Oh
So
wow, that's crazy.
some people like white borders, right? And maybe some court cards look better in white borders. So who knows?
I hope they wait to buy the singles because now they're probably paying a pretty penny for the
I,
premium of
I don't think
scarcity.
people. Yeah, I don't think people would pay that premium.
Okay, good.
I mean, I hope not.
Yeah.
I'm like, just wait a week or two. But
Yeah, dude, like yeah, with any set, wait 3, 4 weeks after it's released and you could get stuff for way cheaper.
there's always that down period too. Like for example, as like stuff comes up, it's expensive, prices go down. Whatever announcement though could trigger price upswings too.
Yeah.
There's always that sweet spot. That's always hard to time it. But if you wait 2, 3 weeks, you at least have a sweet spot to buy it. But you don't know how long that lull will last
Hmm.
because you got skirmish, you got ProQuest, whatever tournaments come up. You might have Road Nationals probably come out again. I'm assuming.
Yep.
I'm assuming they'll do
Yeah, it'll
nationals
probably come
again.
out again.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you have all these different events coming out. You got this new set coming out. The cards fluctuate in value quite a bit, which from a micro standpoint is very interesting to watch that too.
Well, and that should give people confidence over the game overall. Like when you look at the single prices and the singles overall in Flesh and Blood, they move quite a bit. Not only the price, but just the quantity of cards. And now TCG player, you can easily look at like how many have sold in the last like 6 months. And it's that people play the game. If you look at other types of, games, you might newer games out there,
Mhm.
you might not see that.
Yeah, the Flesh and Blood singles sell quite a bit. So some people only look at boxes, but you got to look at the singles too. Because
Oh
some
yeah.
people just want the singles, right? So
Yeah.
you can't just say everyone's gonna buy a box. Well, maybe I'm the idiot who buys a lot of boxes. I don't care. I do it. But some people just want to have this physical class, right? So they'll buy
Yeah.
whatever minimal amount of singles they want on it. So There's so many ways to watch the market, but you know what? Nonetheless, is I'm excited. LSS is growing. History packs are out. People are cracking them. It's fun to watch that. Even if you don't like the whiteness of it, it's still pretty cool.
I agree with you, man. No, everything's great now. Like, the history packs coming out is going to be great. I'm really interested to see how the foreign language cards materialize in the market and how that unfolds, because I think that is a huge growth opportunity that's coming up, because if you don't speak English or you can't read English, then you can't really play the game. So I think that's going to be a huge market to get into, and just the new set coming out and cracking packs of Uprising, just being in the game store. I can't wait, man.
Yeah,
It's a great
that's
time
a
to
good
be in.
point. Like, I don't really have too many things else to talk about, but the history packs and then the black borders and white border differentiation. And
Mhm.
also, I want to talk to some of those, or at least see some interviews with some countries. I want to see how the launches happen in these other countries. Like these countries in different languages, are they already collecting flesh and blood, or is this like how they penetrate, or how's that? I want
I
curious
hope
how
they
that.
film it. I hope they
Yeah.
film it in a game store and talk to people. And I think there's this one guy, I forgot his name. I hate myself, or no, like it's annoying that I'm forgetting. I think his name is the Fabled Academy
Alex.
channel. Yeah, Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that was so cool. He like interviewed people from I think France and stuff. Like it was really cool to see that. Like, and his videos are such high production value. I was
Oh,
like,
I felt
whoa.
like I was watching a Flesh and Blood documentary. You
Dude,
know.
LSS needs to hire this guy. Like, don't hire me. My videos, I don't edit anything. I just talk my ass off. But that guy like made everything look so professional. Like, and it was really cool to see like, other countries playing Flesh and Blood. I don't know. It's neat.
No, he's cool. He's going to be out in the Pro Tour as well. So hopefully he comes up with some cool videos from that too.
Oh yeah. And the tall Timmy, man. I love that guy.
Oh
Like
yeah.
his
Yeah,
bathtub videos opening.
I love his energy. I love his energy. Man, I love his
Yeah.
commentary and his energy. It's a combination of everything, right?
It's
So
yeah, his energy more than anything. You're right. It's just like something about him that you laugh at and you're like, this guy's funny, and this guy is just like a nice guy. Yeah, I don't know. Really cool guy.
yeah, that's cool. But yeah, I'm also minimalist too. I'm like, all right, this is recorded. Okay, but upload stuff. I'm
Done.
just gonna talk to the screen this whole time.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck's on my mind and say it.
Well, and the good thing about that though is you develop a better form of communication. Because if you edit stuff, you're more likely to like, okay, I'll stop here, and that's what. But I feel like when you only have one take, you gotta try to you like I listen to myself on some of my videos, and I'm like, oh geez, I said ums and ahs way too many times. So you try to make your speech a lot better. You know what I mean?
I guess so. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a really fast talker, and I'm like, I fucking know I'm a fast talker, and I just can't stop it. So
Yeah.
it's like one of those things like you might have said like a few times. Now I'm paying attention now, right? But so
Mhm.
it's one of those things is I'm glad that you're able to catch on to that. I'm like, I'm fucking tainted already. I'm gonna say all these things wrong the whole time. But I'm on video, it's okay. But if it's a podcast, I'm gonna edit it because
Yeah.
you only solely listen to the audio itself. So that's why I'm like, I like this video format better. It's less editing.
Yeah. No, I feel you. Editing's hard.
I mean, you got editing. You're like, all right, I've got this podcast. I got the video. I'm gonna sort cards. I'm like, all right, how much time do I want to spend on all these different aspects? Let me say
Yeah.
what's on my mind, get it out.
Time is a valuable asset. I'll say that.
No, it is. Well, man, it's been really nice chatting with you. It's
You
been
too,
a
Michael, man. It's
yeah,
been a while and it was great talking with you today.
yeah. I mean, I think the last time we talked was last fall. You're my first podcast, I believe, or second podcast episode, something like that,
Oh, really?
or third one, I think. First, you're one of the first.
I'll take it. Let's say I'm one of the first.
Yeah, you're one of the first. So it's been good to chat with you again, and I hope to see you either in Vegas or some other place this year. That'd be
Yeah, I
fun.
look forward to seeing you soon too, man. Definitely sometime at some event.
Cool. All right, man.
Cheers.